welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Samhain Tag by NightWillowCrafts. I did her Mabon tag and now I'm going to do her Samhain Tag. I do have some notes on my phone, so like the questions written down so I'm going to be looking down at those so I don't skip anything. Okay, so the first question is, what is Samhain to you? So to me, Samhain is the last harvest. It's the thinning of the veil and when you honor and work with your ancestors. And I also recognize it as the Witch's New Year, but with the way my brain works, and especially like having grown up with the regular Gregorian New Year, January 1st, and because the rest of everyone kind of works with that, it would be really confusing to me to truly treat Samhain as the Witch's New Year, because I just feel like it would be like trying to celebrate Christmas in the middle of the July when everybody else is celebrating something else or just not celebrating Christmas. It's like, it would just be confusing in my mind. So it's like I recognize it as that, but I do most of my like New Year type stuff, like setting intentions and goals and resolutions, all that kind of stuff, I do at actual New Year, January 1st. Number 2, what correspondences are important for you to incorporate each year? For me, it's the colors. I do kind of like orange, sometimes browns, more kind of fall colors like that, and then also like black and gray. Then let's see, pumpkins and squashes, because it's, the last harvest. Those are the last things to be harvested pretty much. I wish I could grow pumpkins and squash here, but we have so much bugs that'll kill them before they ever get anywhere, really. I've tried so many times. I really like warming scents, sort of like a pumpkin spice scent, but just the spice part. I'm not a huge fan of artificial pumpkin scent. I love the smell of a real pumpkin. Like when you carve into a real pumpkin, I like that smell, but the like artificial pumpkin smell, I do not like. Then I also use symbolism of like death, like skulls and such. Number 3, do you celebrate Samhain and Halloween differently? Why or why not? Yes and no. I think they are two separate things. Just because they fall on the same day doesn't mean they're the same thing. I think, to me, Samhain is a lot more spiritual, religious, time to work with the ancestors. It can be more of a somber time, but it doesn't have to be to me. Not completely. And Halloween is a lot more fun, kind of, not that there's no real reason for it, but like just kind of fun for the sake of having fun, like dressing up, going trick-or-treating, stuff like that, that there's no real like meaning behind doing it. It's just for fun. So I do certain things that I kind of do specifically for Samhain, and then I do certain things that are a little bit more Halloween and Samhain combined, and that would be stuff like decorating the house. Some of it, we don't do decorations outside, but we do some inside, like, I'll talk about that in another question, but we do a few things inside that are really more Halloween-y than Samhain, and then some things would be more strictly Halloween, like if I dress up, which I don't do every year, but I do sometimes if I have plans to do something. To me, it doesn't make sense to dress up if you're just going to sit at home alone. So if I have plans, I'll dress up, and that's definitely more like specifically Halloween. Number 4, what is your favorite tradition for this time of year? My favorite is probably carving pumpkins. I also really enjoy setting up my altar, but my favorite is carving pumpkins, and I like to carve them with intention, and sometimes I use an LED candle, but in the past I've also made special candles or just enchanted a candle that's already made with my intention of protection or like honoring the ancestors, stuff like that. So that's probably my favorite. Number 5, do you have a special dish or drink that you only enjoy this time of year? Honestly, not really. Let's see. I don't like pumpkin or pumpkin spice flavored stuff. So like I don't like pumpkin pie or like pumpkin spice lattes, anything like that. And then anything else that I might eat around this time of year is not necessarily specifically only this time of year. Like it's starting to get cooler, so I might have more like soups and stuff, but that doesn't mean I never eat soup other times of year, you know what I mean? Number 6, are there any myths you include for your celebrations? No, not really. I don't go by the Wiccan like goddess and going with the god and getting pregnant and maiden mother crone and all that. I don't really use that in my practice. And to be honest, I don't really know of what other myths would be considered Samhain related. Are there any magical, 7, are there any magical spells you reserve for this time of year? Example, poppets, ancestor offerings or workings, pumpkin carvings, etc. So I do usually do most of my ancestor work around this time of year. Although I know that Beltane, the veil, is thin as well, so I'd like to try doing some ancestor workings then. And then pumpkin carving is something I only do around Samhain. Number 8, what's your favorite Samhain memory? I'd have to say probably, so when I first, a little bit of a backstory. So when I first became a pagan and a witch is when I was 9 years old and we moved to a new town. My parents moved us and I had to go to a new school. So basically I met someone there and she introduced me to Wicca and witchcraft, and so I don't know the exact date, but I know it was either in October or possibly very early November is when I like officially decided to become a pagan and a witch. And so that's kind of something that is around the Samhain time, and it's kind of a really good memory for me. Number 9, what are your plans for Samhain this year? So, like usual, decorating my altar and working with my ancestors. Then I went to this fall festival this past weekend on October 15th on Saturday, and the festival itself was a real disappointment, but they had a bunch of different pumpkins. Like they said it was a pumpkin patch, but really it was just like they carted in a bunch of pumpkins and set them on the ground. But anyway, they had a bunch you could choose from, and you paid like by the pound. And so I chose some. I'll try to see if I can pop up a little video of them. I got 2 that are more for like carving, and then 3 a little bit smaller ones that are more like decorative. So I'd like to carve at least one of those carving type pumpkins. And I really like to do both, but my the arthritis in my hands doesn't always allow that. So I plan to do that. And then, and when I carve the pumpkins, I like to do it with intention. And like I said, of either protection or ancestor work, something like that. So, yeah. Number 10, do you celebrate for a single day or multiple days? I sort of do both. I like to kind of get ready for Samhain before the actual day. Like, I'll decorate my altar and I'll buy pumpkins, stuff like that. And then on Samhain itself is when I do most of my like actual workings, and most of the actual celebrating is mostly done on the Samhain day itself. Number 11, do you celebrate with a group or solitary? Solitary. I've never been part of a coven or anything like that, so just solitary. 12, do you decorate your home or just your altar? Okay, so I kind of went into this a little early, got ahead of myself, but when I was a kid growing up, we decorated the house on the outside a lot. Now for Halloween, not Samhain of course, but my parents are Christian, so they don't do Samhain. But we don't do that anymore. Now we put a few decorations inside, like if I get pumpkins, like real pumpkins, we put them usually in front of the fireplace, and then I have this large ceramic pumpkin. It's like the size of a real one, but it's ceramic and it's carved like a jack-o'-lantern, and you can put a tea light in there, like a LED one. I don't think you should put, because of the way it's made, I don't think you should put a real candle. But then this year at the garage sale, the citywide garage sales we have, I got this really cool ghost lamp, and it's vintage and it's really cool, so I put that out this year too. And then yeah, the rest is really just my altar in my bedroom. 13. With it being the spooky season, have you ever experienced anything paranormal? Yes, I have. When I was really, really young, like 2, maybe younger, I have this fuzzy memory of seeing a ghost lady. Like, I remember I was sitting. I was either like in one of those little kid chairs or something because it was low to the ground. And I remember like looking up and seeing this like ghost lady walk past, and then I vaguely remember kind of what she looked like, but the memory's not like super, super clear. So I don't really remember exactly what happened afterwards or any of that. And then I have a more very clear memory of when I was 5. I was outside playing in my backyard in the evening. Like, it was dark outside, and we had this big light on the house that would shine into the backyard, but it didn't reach every part of the backyard. And so we had this area like the house and then the backyard, but then there was like a little strip over here where there was like a strip of yard next to the house and then a gate where you could exit. And the whole backyard was fenced in, and it was one of those really tall fences. Like, you're not getting over that, like, as an animal, unless you're a bird or something. But so I remember I was playing outside and I heard this noise over in that side area, and I went over there to look. So I'm like turning the corner going in there, and it's like real dark over there, but I saw this big dog. Like, I think it was a Rottweiler, but at the time, like, I didn't know dog types, but like looking back in my memory, I'm like, oh yeah, that must have been like a Rottweiler looking dog. But there was no way for a dog to have possibly gotten in the yard. Like I say, that a dog couldn't have gotten over the fence, there was no way for him to have gotten under. And so I saw it, and then I just kind of froze, and it started growling at me, and then I took off running and went inside and told my parents about it. So my dad got a flashlight and went out there and looked, and there was nothing there. And he like looked around, and he looked again in the morning in the daytime, and he was like, Stephanie, you obviously imagined it, because there's nowhere it couldn't have gotten over the fence, and there's nowhere it could have dug in. And like, I went and looked myself over there, and he was right. There was nowhere it could have gotten in. It didn't make any sense. But I definitely knew it happened, and so I kind of just figured it had to have been like a ghost spirit dog or whatever. And I think that happened when I was like 5. Alright, so anyway, that's the end of the tag. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and if you would subscribe and leave a comment, that would be fantastic. Alright, thank you so much. Bye.